Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Jennifer Peltier, and I'm here on behalf of the Leisure Information Network, and I will be providing your technical support for today. So if you have any questions at all regarding your connection or your audio, please feel free to enter those into the chat pod as we move along, and I'd be happy to help. So to begin us off, I'd like to welcome Carrie Kelly from the Leisure Information Network to do a welcome and a brief introduction. Carrie, are you with us?
Yes, so I just wanted to first of all thank you all for coming to our session today on measuring impact in your after-school programs. Time is a very precious commodity, we know that, so we appreciate you sharing some of yours with us. We're also very, very grateful to our webinar sponsors, Royal Bank of Canada. RBC has shown their commitment to after-school support and development, and them getting involved, or the bank getting involved in letting us create this kind of content for our own after-school website helps us to fulfill our commitment to helping support great after-school training programs for people that are working with our kids. So on that note, I just want to quickly introduce Gail Corcoran. She's the Director of Community and Cultural Marketing at Royal Bank of Canada, and she'll welcome you to today's session. Gail, are you with us?
Yeah, hi everyone. Sorry about that. So thank you. I just want to thank all of our after-school grant recipients for attending this webinar. We know from funding after-school programs for 15 years that evaluation and measurement is probably one of the more difficult things to do because we recognize that so many of you are program managers, the people that clean up after the program, the direct support to all the kids, the people asking for dollars. So when you look at all the different hats you put on, measuring and evaluating your programs can just be one more thing to add to the plate. But we also know that it's becoming more and more important as you go out to funders to seek donations to support your programs. And we thought that not only will this presentation hopefully assist when filling out our after-school grant evaluation reports and renewal submissions, but will also help you when you're dealing with all your other donors, funders, and government. So really, we feel that this is a way we can build capacity for our partners, and we can hope to continue to do these types of things throughout the year to partner with you because, you know, you guys are one of our signature programs and charities that we want to support, and we have been supporting after-school programs since 1999. So we know that there's significant impacts on children and youth when they attend your programs and they take part in all the services you provide, and they get support from all your leaders. So I want, on behalf of our team, I want to thank all of you for the work you do, and I'm going to pass it over to start the presentation. Thanks.
Oh, hi again, everyone. It's Carrie Kelly. I just am happy to be able to introduce our presenter for the day, Brenda Herchmer. Some of you may have had the lucky opportunity to hear her before. Brenda works with grassroots enterprises in the Campus for Communities of the Future and does a lot of focus on community building and supporting the leadership that you need for the successful process of change. She's also a very entertaining and informative presenter, so I think you'll enjoy yourself as well as learn a little something. So I will let her get to it. Welcome, Brenda.
Hi, thank you. I'm really happy to be here. I'm especially, I must say, I really want to join you in commending the RBC because this is such a great investment. And I know that many of us who've been a part of the voluntary nonprofit sector, too often it seems the professional development, the training budget is the first one that gets cut. So this is really exciting to be a part of. My job here as a host is to present you with some information, and I'm finding increasingly I'm playing this role in terms of curating is the role that I'm hearing, which is really a case of collecting information that's valuable because I'm definitely a landing gear kind of woman, condensing it and simplifying it for you. And as Gail pointed out, that's really important because we know that all of you have a lot on your plates. You need to know a lot of information about a lot of different things because you're wearing a lot of different hats. So my job is to make your job easier and to help you speak the language of evaluators to really know what you don't know about evaluation. And I know for me it was a lot of learning by the seat of my pants, so hopefully you won't have to do that in quite the same way. So here's what we're going to do in the next hour and a half, a little bit less than that now. And this is what was promoted in the webinar as well. So it's really about exploring evaluation, I think mostly from a very practical point of view. I also did want to just point out that evaluation itself, it's a field unto itself. And so this is a lot of information, and so really it has been a case of trying to call what you need to evaluate your after-school programs. But know as well that there is an organization that supports a professional body of evaluators in Canada. It's called the Canadian Evaluation Society. So I just wanted to include that link for you as well. Also, to be honest, I can tell you that I've really struggled with understanding evaluation over the years, and I'm guessing I'm not alone with that one. I think, like a lot of you, we've been busy doing as opposed to evaluating. So I'll share with you what I've learned. I think part of it, my learning was that I ended up having to do it whether I liked it or not, probably like a lot of you. And it is, of course, critically important to the funders. But I can also tell you, I think I finally drunk the Kool-Aid, and I think I'm actually quite excited about the topic. So I'm really looking forward to sharing this with you today. So I just want to point out, just before we get into the meat of this, I just want to check in and make sure that everyone can hear me okay. Also, just so that you can put your hand up at any point during the webinar if you need clarification or have questions. So on your toolbar at the very top, there's kind of this androgynous little person with their hand up. And there's a little arrow beside that person. And if you click on that, one of the options is to raise your hand. So if you can hear me okay, what I would like you to do is just click on raise your hand, and you'll see what happens. See how smart you are all? You just clicked on that, and you caught on. So that's how that works, right? Now you see that little person, that same emoticon is right beside your name. And so it sounds like everyone can hear me okay, which is fabulous. So let's keep moving. So one of the things I've learned with any topic is to start with a definition, and this one actually came right out of Wikipedia. So really, evaluation, we're talking about assessment, we're talking about judgment, appraisal, all of those different words, and so it is as that simple and yet that complicated, and that's what we're going to dive into. So I want to start by getting some feedback from you that will help us figure out what to emphasize through this webinar. I want to really to reinforce as well that this is anonymous at this point. We won't see your name, but we just really want an assessment from you of one word that best describes your ability to evaluate. I can tell you honestly, the word I would have used at the very beginning when I first started working in after-school programs, my roots were Boys and Girls Club. Mine probably would have been dismal. That would have been my word. So what you need to do, where it says question number 1, type your answer there. We won't see what you're typing until you push enter, and then it will appear. So what one word describes your ability to evaluate? We won't see your name. We'll just see your word once you press enter. And everyone's going to be able to see everyone else's. Oh, I love that. Seat of the pants. Yes. Okay. Okay, and some of competent. Some of you are awesome. Perfect. We still need more of you. Some moderate. And if you want to see everyone's answer, there's a little scroll bar on the side to the far right, a slider bar. And you can slide that up and down so that you can see everyone's answers, because the screen's not quite big enough. Okay, so yeah, I like that. So some of you are fair, moderate, limited, evolving. Good words. Okay. And I appreciate your honesty, because I think that for a lot of mediocre, yeah, you get points for honesty. Yes. Good. And some of us are kind of in the middle. Busy. Well, now that's honest. Yes. Mediocre, competent. Good. So a range. Okay. Well, that tells us something. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. And there's the second question. So we just need to wrap our heads around the whole topic of evaluation. So why is that important? Why do we need to evaluate our after-school programs? Why is that? Good answers there already. Good. Yeah, it's to ensure the quality, yes. To ensure there is impact, to ensure that we're making a difference. Yes. You use the slider bar, too. You want to keep scrolling down so you can see everybody's answers there because they're good ones. Yeah. To demonstrate effectiveness, for better quality. To measure, yep. To ensure, yeah, effectiveness, good, yep. Quality programming. To anything else. Yeah, there's a good one, to assist in securing funding. And I know Gail mentioned that as well, that's going to be really important. People don't invest until they're really clear about the difference that you're making. Good. Okay, so we'll continue on with the slides. The one point I just wanted to make about this, that first question that I asked you, what one word describes your ability to evaluate? Just to explain why I asked you to come up with one word, one of the things that I found is important in terms of learning and is supported by the research is that we really need to bring our whole brain into the learning room, and both our left brain and our right brain. And by asking you to come up with one word, hopefully we've engaged both sides of your brain. So the right brain, you have to be a little bit creative to actually figure out what that word is, and then you've got to use your left brain to choose an actual word. So that whole exercise was about getting you to focus and engage and both your left brain and your right brain. Goodness knows we all need our whole brains these days. I know sometimes it feels like we're not firing on all jets for sure, but that's just the intent behind that exercise. So here's a slide that you may want to think about in terms of building a case for why you need to evaluate not only your after-school program, but everything else that you are doing as well. It really does all of these things. It really helps us learn and improve. I think you've touched on most of these, but it does also help you market your after-school programs. We talked about sustainability and demonstrating effectiveness. You got that in terms of your responses. It allows us to get better. It ensures the accountability. I think it really does help us deal with uncertainty and change. There's something about pulling this all together that makes you more confident that you're on the right path with your program. I think that's important. And I think the other thing, and this is why it's really exciting to see RBC behind this as well, because when we gather our results and the difference that we're making, we really can contribute to making success travel. So any other thoughts about why we need to evaluate, or have we covered that all? If you do have something more to add, I would just encourage you to add it into the chat. So bottom right-hand corner, type in your response, and then when you press enter, we will all be able to see your response. In this case, your name will be beside it. So, okay. Okay, that's your case right there. That's the reason why we need to evaluate there. Okay, so in terms of pulling together the resources for this webinar, what I really reflected on with my peers as well, with a number of others, was what they really see as the greatest challenges in terms of evaluation. And we really did agree on them. And I think it's interesting as well, because I think this is where the funders are landing as well. So we came up with our list of the top 5 greatest challenges. And we've actually laid out the webinar to address these 5 challenges as well. It's a big topic to really tackle in an hour and a half. We do have a number of slides, and I don't want you to be intimidated by that, because we are going to address all 5 of these challenges. But a lot of those slides are really intended for you as resources or examples. And so they will go quickly, and the intent is that you have the PowerPoint handouts as well as a resource, and you'll also have the recording that you can refer back to if you need to reinforce any of the learning. So here's what we found. We found that one of the greatest challenges that we're not incorporating evaluation at the very beginning. As Stephen Covey always says, we need to begin with the end in mind. And in a lot of cases, and I really get this, we're so busy a lot of times just doing and making the program, the after-school program, happen, really putting boots on the ground to make it happen, that we're not always taking the time to incorporate evaluation from the beginning into our planning, into our budgets, and to our work plans, because this is definitely about a team effort. Evaluation has to involve the entire team, so it needs to be incorporated into our work plans. And the previous slide about the reasons why we need to evaluate, that's the case. That gives you the ammunition that you need to build in extra time to think about the evaluation, because I know it's hard to squeeze out the time, and you may have to justify it, but it's really critical. Can't stress that enough. The second issue we saw is that there is confusion between quantitative and qualitative data, which we're going to explain, but we too often, prioritize quantitative data over qualitative data. We're going to talk about that. There is some confusion as well about the difference between outputs and outcomes. We're going to clarify that. We've often also seen too much emphasis being placed on process, evaluating our process, as opposed to evaluating the outcomes of our programs. And the the language of evaluators is that this is the difference between the process or formative evaluation and the outcome or the summative evaluation. I think for our intents and purposes, it's probably simpler just to refer to it as evaluating the process or evaluating the outcomes, and we'll dig into that a little bit. The other thing that we've seen is that there sometimes is a failure to recognize that we need to use a variety of tools and options for gathering and reporting on our results. So those are what we have seen as those challenges. Does that resonate with you? And if it does, I'm going to ask you if you can go back to that little person on your header, and if this resonates with you, you can do an agree or disagree, or hands up is good too. Okay, good. So it sounds like we're on the right track. And thanks for the reinforcement, Gail. That's good, because as a funder, you're seeing this confusion, these challenges as well. Thank you. Okay.